Welcome to our channel Lightlink Vision. Today Mother will continue with part 3 for the subject, what is spirituality in the modern world? So Mother will guide us towards the path, the real path to spirituality. Thank you, Mother.
The question is that we have to accept that in any domain of life, to be able to be taken seriously and to obtain results, you need a strategy, a clear plan, and then you have to apply it, you have to work. Everybody in the whole world can tell you that if you want to get anywhere, somewhere, if you want to get somewhere, well, then at least you have to be equipped and go go the path towards that goal. Well, now in the spiritual realm, we seem to have forgotten this basic reality. We think often that it's enough to put on the right clothes or to have your card of subscription, and then you already are arrived at your destination. Well, that's not the case. And that's the first difficulty that we have to change, to be able one day to be taken more seriously. Because a spiritual path is like any other path in this world that leads to a genuine goal, to be able to obtain visible results or clear results in one way or another. The spiritual path is a path you have to put your feet on and to go every day seriously and with a lot of patience. More patience than in the material world. I mean, to have a reward or a diploma from a university that will take you 10 years at the most, whereas a spiritual path can easily take you 20, 30 or even 40 years before you really get results. And that's the difficulty of spiritual path, that you need a lot of time, a lot of investment on a daily basis, and quite hard work. Now, even on that path, there are several intermediate steps, there are several levels. And I think the first level that you can already undertake, quite on your own, is to watch your diet, to become a vegetarian. It's not an absolute rule that you have to be it, but I see this as a first work on the ego, to try to transform desires. Because one of the most important steps on the spiritual path, is to what we call to clean up the astral body, the body of desires, so that those desires can gradually be transformed or come under a form of control of under the higher self, And for me, being a vegetarian means that it's the first step towards purifying this astral body and trying to transform a too big attachment to animal products, to meat. You can do this in several steps. You can at first stop red meat, and then also chicken and turkey and fish. No, chicken and turkey, and then eventually only take from time to time a little bit of fish. You can also stop fish, whatever you want. But the road is to become more detached from desires. That's one part of the path. Many other domains in life, even more difficult, also have to be considered. I mean, I already talked a lot about the philosophy of life. What is most important in your life, that's even the first thing that has to change. If you attach, and that has to do with desires, if you attach a lot of importance to purely mundane things. The way they see you on the level of the diplomas you have, the salary the wages you earn, your car, what is the brand of your car, how many times a year you can go on a vacation, the clothes you wear, all those things gradually, in one way or another, have to be sacrificed on this path. That doesn't mean that you cannot go on a vacation. That doesn't mean that you don't have to wear clothes that are correct. But the attachment has to be given up, and all the extras and all the what's too much has to be given up. It really has to do with a form of gradual renouncement. And that is the first thing that is for many spiritualists already difficult. That's why the materialistic world reproaches us. Spirituality is an extra in our life. We don't renounce on anything. We just have some books, some theories from masters, from initiates, above all the rest. Well, in the beginning this might be the way, because you're just impregnating yourself with a theory. But one day this theory has to become practice. And then it comes up to some kind of renouncement. And you have to renounce step by step, but definitely, very clearly, on many extras that are still permitted for other people. And I think this is the first reason why it's not taken seriously by many people, by materialistic people and by spiritualists themselves. They underestimate this part of the road, because they will tell you that God has created this world and we have the right to enjoy everything that is in it. They will tell you that the modern spiritualists do not have to draw back in a monastery, but can stay in the midst of everything, and this is perfectly all right. That meat eating is not hindering at all the path to God. And basically they are all right. It's true what they say. The only thing they forget to say is that they are attached themselves to those things, up to the extent that for them it's a hindrance. So even if basically nothing is a hindrance on the path towards God, it becomes a hindrance as soon as you're attached to it. And that's the problem. God hasn't forbidden basically anything. Yes, I'm not talking about evil things, but everything that's part of the normal world, God has accepted. It has been created, so he accepted it in one way or another. But the way you deal with it, the measure in which you are attached to it, what it means for you, that's what will be triggered on the spiritual path. Something in this universe will say, yes, I invented sports cars, but that doesn't mean that you have to attach so much importance to it that you drive them every weekend and you have 2, 3, 4 cars in your garage. That's very well on the path of a materialistic person, but not if you want to call yourself a spiritualist. You can have perhaps one and then enjoy it, but there's something that has to be given up. And in fact, we cannot even tell you what it is from the outside. I cannot say, if somebody enters and he has modest clothes and he comes by bus and he doesn't eat meat, that doesn't mean that he's for me a spiritualist. I can't say anything. Perhaps it's a very arrogant person that only wants to show off how renounced he is. So it's in the end always an affair of man with himself inside. It's your attachment to those things that counts. And that we cannot always see. Perhaps we can feel it, but we can't see it. But nevertheless, on the spiritual path, this is what's being asked from us. Little by little, you will see you have to give up a lot of extra that has become too much in a relative sense for you, because you have to. Yes, you have to put it aside, otherwise you can't climb up, you can't come further. But it can also mean the kind of relationship you have with a husband or children. If you have a tendency to be too much attached to the persons around you, in a measure that you can't even consider they are not there anymore, or you can't be alone, or you're all the time mothering or fathering them, yeah, then there's something to be changed, to be given up. That also is part of this path. So you can say there are many steps to undertake, but you have to start with one. And normally, many individuals already know where their attachments are. Not everybody, but in life you can see it, where the attachment is for a person. But that will very probably be the first domain in life where the renouncements have to be made. Not in one day. You can take your time, but you have to take it seriously and you have to do it. That is the difficulty on the spiritual path for many modern spiritualists, to take this path seriously. This was the path of the ancient mystics that just in one simple cloth with a rope around their waist, they were meditating all day long. They possessed nothing. They ate very little. Of course, for the majority of us, even on the spiritual path, that's not the goal anymore. But the principle is still there. That means you have to become detached from many aspects of this material, emotional life, daily life, human life, that you perhaps were quite attached to. And then another difficulty is that modern man, with his thirst for freedom, thinks he's free. But put yourself seriously on the spiritual path and you will see in 1 week that you're not at all. And that's one of the hindrances for many, many spiritualists, to accept that they are far more attached to certain things in life than they thought. And if you ask me what is the first problem, I would say this. The first problem for the man or woman that aspires towards the soul or the higher goal, I think the main and the first problem will be to accept this truth, that from the moment you want to go up to your soul, to something higher in yourself, that you will feel what's hindering you and what kind of attachments you have to things, situations, or persons that you didn't even know they were there. Suddenly you find out that you have an enormous, tremendous attachment to your partner, whereas you thought yourself a completely independent man or woman. Your children suddenly become a question of being alive or death, whereas you thought you were quite an independent parent. This is what you will see on this path immediately. If you have the least seriousness on this path and you really want to go it, you will see it. And that is the first thing that also might keep you back from going it, because you will see that is a huge part. And it's one of the reasons why many spiritualists do not go the path, or just a little bit like that. because this big part in front of them that they should tackle, that they should change, is very hard to accept. There where perhaps they can become easily vegetarian, they can renounce on all kinds of little things. They look less, they watch less television, they don't go to do the sport, they don't watch football every weekend anymore. All kinds of things like that, they can little by little diminish. But the main problem in their life, their attachments to certain persons, things, or that's what it's all about. And then you will see the one who is serious and the one who is not. And I personally do not underestimate this difficulty. I will never judge somebody who says, yes, but I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. But you can't go around it. This is what's asked from us. This is what is asked from us. This is the truth about spirituality. So it has, one day somebody said to one of my pupils, but that lady, what if she has more than we have? And my pupil answered. And I was very impressed afterwards. He answered, this lady has nothing more than you and me. But perhaps she has something less. And I agreed with him. Mm-hmm. Because that's the path.
Thank you, Madam.
And I took it as a compliment.
Mm-hmm. It was indeed. Thank you. So this was part 3 of spirituality in the modern world. So we'll have a 4th one.
Yes.
And please subscribe so you don't miss part 4. And we'll see you to the next one. So have a good day.
We are always asking so much more. We are always hoping Santa's at our door. We behave like children, captured in a game of give and take, in which we calculate the income of the day. Yes, we are like little drops in oceans full of water, and all we care about is quenching our own thirst. Just try to look around and see what's flowing so abundantly. There is enough to share, so why do you not dare? We're always demanding, think it is our right. Many expectations, all is on our side. We never ask the question, what do others need that we can give? We're simply too afraid the bill will not be paid. We change our vision of what's good for us and others, living by the truth. Can't we build a world of peace, trust and generosity, in which the best of every soul is given to the whole? Yes, we are like